Hello, Sioux Falls, and welcome to Planning Preview for the month of March. My name is Jason Bieber with the Planning Office at the City of Sioux Falls, and joining me today for his first Planning Preview is Bradyn, our newly elected Planning Commission Chairman. So it's great to have you for your first show.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, it's your first of 12, so this is great. We'll see how it goes for the first one, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah, we got a pretty big agenda, so let's get right into it. So
Yeah, it looks like the first one is a resolution amending the Shape Sioux Falls 2020 or 2040 comprehensive plan.
Yeah, so this is something, you guys see this every year about what we like to do. Our future planning team likes to update the growth tier maps based on different capital improvement plans and things throughout the year. So these are good to get on there to kind of give the residents and also developers a good idea of maybe where the city's going to grow. So this will be our 2024 update for that.
Awesome. Looks like the second one is ordinance amending Chapter 160, the 2013 Shape Places zoning ordinance.
Yeah, this is just a small little tweak to the off-premise sign section, essentially changing some of the posting requirements to do a new billboard opportunity district. So real small change, but something that needs to be in there as part of that. So
very good. The next two, it looks like kind of similar items. Future land use amendments near 77th and Cliff and 85th in Minnesota.
Yeah, you're exactly right. These are two that are almost exactly the same, located kind of right along the Veterans Parkway corridor. So these are some properties that the City of Sioux Falls has purchased, looking for some detention ponds and some right-of-way. So we're just getting those to go from Tier 2 to Tier 1, and then we'll roll through the annexation and rezoning processes. So this is kind of the first step in that. But
very good. Looks like next one is rezoning from live, work, townhome, suburban conservation to RT2, townhome residential. Near 41st and T. Ellis?
Yeah, this is kind of the west side there, kind of northwest of the T area elementary school. So there's kind of this real skinny strip piece of land that the developer has bought. So they're going to put a private street down there and do some 4-unit townhomes on the west side. The reason why they're going to the RT2 instead of the RD2 is they're looking to do 20-foot front yards instead of that 25. So that'll allow them to develop that kind of narrow strip that they got.
Sure. Next one looks like they're rezoning from RD1 twin home duplex suburban district to RT1 single family, and that's at 911 South 10th Avenue.
Yeah, so this is one of our great partners, CCOG, who's moving in a house onto this lot. I think it's a governor's home. This is one of those infill lots that we see kind of in the core area of the city. That's less than 50 feet wide. So really, this RT1 zoning district that was created as part of Shape Places really works well for those to be able to put a house and meet setbacks and lot size. So
very good. Next one, rezoning from the light industrial district to RA2 apartment residential. Looks like this is kind of up on North Cliff and 29 by McGuire Iron.
Yeah, just west of the new McGuire and Iron building, like you said, the Camping World. So this is a property that's majority of it's already RA2. One of the streets, 67th Street, that was supposed to go through, we offset a little bit to the south so it wouldn't be a straight shot for some of the industrial traffic to go through that neighborhood. It left a little bit of a remnant I-1 piece that he's cleaning up then to get that whole piece to be RA2.
Okay. Next one, we're rezoning from RS single family to suburban district to the SY General Institution. That's the Central Baptist Church.
Yep, just right over off of Ralph Rogers and 229. As you're driving, you can kind of see it on the south side of the road. Really just cleaning it up. It was an S2 PUD for some reason, and then they had a couple of lots of RS. Must have purchased some of that, and so just getting it all general institutional, which is usually institution or place of worship that size is usually zone that. So
very good. Next, rezoning from RD1 twin home duplex suburban district to RT2 townhome residential. This is at 2429 South Duluth. kind of over by 33rd, I think.
Yep, right. You got it perfectly, 33rd and Duluth Avenue, northwest corner. This was actually a single-family house that was actually hit by a car. If you've driven by there.
I did this morning.
Yeah, just nailed it. I mean, it pushed it off its foundation.
I saw that, okay.
It's zoned RD1, which allows for a twin home duplex. The applicant's looking to actually tear down that house because it looks really bad.
Yep.
And then put 2 units on there, one facing the west and one facing the east.
Sure.
The lot's a little bit smaller than what could do with the RD1, so that's why they're going to the RT2.
Kind of by the campuses, Aggie and USF.
Perfect, where people rent from those areas.
Sure. Next one, we're rezoning from light industrial, commercial, neighborhood, streetcar, office to the C3 community, C2 commercial, streetcar, S1 general, office, live, work, and conservation. This is out by Jefferson High School, I think.
Yeah, just north of Jefferson High School and then kind of over east a little bit also. It sounds like a lot, but they're really kind of just flip-flopping zones and kind of moving maybe where the clinic's going to go and where the retail's going to go. So it's just really moving zones around. It's not a lot of changes. But.
Yep, pretty good. Next one, rezoning the office district to RD2 townhome residential near 69th and Benson.
Yeah, just way in the southeast part of the city, right along 69th Street. All of that was zoned office. The applicant would like to construct some townhome type units in part of that office, and then part of it will stay office too. So.
Very good. And then our last one looks like plan unit development, initial development plan amendment to Lake Lorraine.
Yep. Yeah, just updating their signage plan out there as part of that. We like to see those amendments every couple of years. When they continue to develop and get new businesses and things, we got to update their sign plan. So really, it's just continuing to be in the retail's being constructed out there and just kind of keeping us in the loop on it. So yeah, we got through about 13, which is pretty good for us for the month of March. Kind of a interesting bag of different things that we're doing. Normally you don't see the whole gamut, and we don't even have a conditional use. That's pretty big of a shocker.
That's right.
Yeah, so great. Thanks for doing your first one, and we'll see you back next month, right?
Thanks for having me. See ya.
Yeah, and stay tuned, Sioux Falls. After the break, we have Shannon Ausen with our engineering department to talk about 2024 road projects.
Hey, this is Seth with the City of Sioux Falls Housing Division. I'm here today with another home maintenance minute for you. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your driveway in the winter. It is a city ordinance that you have to remove the snow within 48 hours of each snow event. And so in order to get that snow and ice off of your sidewalks, off of your driveways for yourself, a lot of people like to use salt. And I myself have used salt, and it works really great. However, as you can see with this driveway, this in particular homeowner used some really aggressive salts, and so it actually ate through the top layer of their driveway, and it's all pitted, and there's sand everywhere, and this concrete isn't going to last as long as it should. And so I just want to encourage you, when you're buying salt for this winter, to look for a magnesium chloride. It is the most eco-friendly salt. It works up to 15 degrees below zero, and you don't have to worry about your pet's paws or anything like that. It's a really great product. It will be safe for your cement. However, still use sparingly. Don't overdo it. Thank you for watching today's Home Maintenance Minute.
Welcome back to Planning Preview for the month of March. Joining me now is Shannon Ausen, the Engineering Program Manager. I love having you on the show because you know everything that's happening around town with the streets and roads and what's upcoming for 2024 and where I'm going to have to slow down with the cones, right?
Exactly. Well, thanks so much for having me. I love being here because I can sit on the other side of the table.
That's right. So talk to us a little bit about some of the big ones. I know there's like maybe five or six real big projects, and then we can maybe talk a little bit about some ones that we have coming up in the next couple of years, if that works for you.
All right, no problem. Yeah. So the first couple of projects are carryover projects from last year. 41st Street and Interstate 29, which is a diverging diamond, and then also Benson Road and Interstate 229, which is also a diverging diamond. So both of those had a lot of concrete placed in the last year. 41st Street was actually under construction. This will be the third year. But we hopefully will have an opening of those diverging diamonds in 2024. And what's so exciting about them, even though we are the second diverging diamond in the state of South Dakota, that Rapid City got theirs first. Ours are actually quite bigger with more left turns and more right turns than Rapid City's. And so we're excited to see how our citizens take control of that diverging diamond. So we'll have a lot of educational videos come out and try to do an open house to try to educate people. But really, have you ever driven in a diverging diamond?
I just finally did out in Rapid in October.
Did you?
I didn't even know it was there, and all of a sudden we were going through it. But yeah.
And that's what a lot of people say, is they don't even know they're in them because you're just following the lines and following the person ahead of you, and all of a sudden you're through it and you don't even know it. But they're so much more efficient and so much safer on left turns. It actually reduces left turn crashes by over 50%. So that's the main reason why we selected that type of interchange for both of those two projects. So that's something to look forward to in 2024. One of the other big projects that we have, of course, is my favorite, South Veterans Parkway. And you had just talked about some future land use amendments with Bradyn regarding those detention ponds. We're going to continue South Veterans Parkway from Minnesota over to Western. And so that will be under construction this year, but we're going to have some pretty big impacts to traffic.
Okay.
Are you an East Sider or West Sider?
East Sider.
Okay, so you shouldn't have to worry about it.
I'm good then.
Yeah, you're good. Minnesota Avenue will have a total closure for 20 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that'll be in the spring. As soon as the contractor starts getting all of his materials and equipment lined up. But the first closure that we'll have will be mid-March, and that'll be the Western Avenue and pretty much south of 95th Street down to Highway 106, which is by the Harrisburg Elementary School and Middle School. And so they have to build and put utilities in the South Veterans Parkway and Western intersection, which we're raising that intersection about 8 to 10 feet.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so that's why we had to totally close it. But the intersection of 95th and Western will stay open until school is out. And then that intersection we will construct a roundabout.
Yes, which I love roundabouts.
Yeah.
Traffic circles or whatever.
Yeah,
people
exactly.
go by.
So we're excited about that too, because if a lot of those parents that drop off middle school and elementary kids right now, it's kind of a mass chaos. And so that roundabout's really going to change how people drop off their kids for that daily school. So certainly going to be a long construction year though for that those folks along Western, because they'll have to find other ways to get up to 85th Street.
Yes. So let me ask you this with that, because that's a great point. So how do you decide, you said 95th Street and Western you'll do a roundabout. How do you know that you need to do a roundabout, or you need to do a four-way stop, or you need to do a light? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of times it just depends on a lot of the existing traffic movements. So at 95th and Western, there's a lot of left turns and right turns for people to go onto 95th Street to go into the school. And it's the proximity of that intersection to Veterans Parkway, it's a little close. And so if we put a signal up there, Jason, there's a potential that stacking vehicles could stack through South Veterans Parkway. So those roundabouts, the main advantage, along with safety, is keeping traffic moving. And so that people are able to go around the circle, go into their drop-off for their kiddos at one of the schools, and then come back out and then continue on north or south, whichever way, without having to stop. So that's probably the best part. We don't have a lot of roundabouts across the city, but I think we'll get more. I think we have 5 or 6 right now, and they work wonderfully.
Yeah, I use the one on 69th and Southeastern quite a bit. That's where we have basketball practices at the two Harrisburg schools, and it works great. Yeah,
so 69th and Southeastern, actually, it handles a tremendous amount of traffic, and we're actually getting to a point where we may have to make that a multi-lane roundabout. So we'll probably have to explore that in the next 5 years.
Will that look like the one that they just built in Harrisburg?
Yeah.
That's a double lane. Okay.
Yeah. So there's some pedestrian enhancements that we would make at the pedestrian crosswalks to make sure that those pedestrians cross safely. So there could be a chance where you actually, pedestrian pushes a button and the traffic would have to stop for those pedestrians to cross.
Gotcha.
But it's still, for the most part, you still have that added capacity.
Good, that's great.
Yeah, so South Veterans Parkway, going back to South Veterans Parkway, Western will close mid-March, and then it'll be closed down to 106 probably through October, November. And then that portion of Veterans Parkway will be under construction from Minnesota over to Western pretty much the remainder of the year.
Okay.
So they're still working on the bridge over 85th Street.
Yeah, they came a long way.
Yes, they did, yeah. So we're hopeful that they'll be pouring that deck early spring. And then the next segment of Veterans Parkway, we had planned to go from Interstate 29 to Western.
Yep.
Kind of slow in design, kind of slow in the right-of-way acquisition, so we're not going to bid that this year. It's likely to be bid in 2025. And so that will also be bid around the same time as the next segment was originally planned, which is Cliff over to Sycamore.
Yeah, gotcha.
So there's a possibility we'll have two segments, two 2-mile segments under construction in 25 and 26.
So would you have then, if you have that kind of work, would you have 2 separate contractors, one doing one segment, one doing the other segment?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And so
make that work.
when the city and the DOT entered into our agreement to construct South Veterans Parkway, our original plan was whatever we get the right of way first, that's where we're going to build. And so it's not slowing us down in our overall goal to get it open to traffic by 2027, the entire 8-mile segment. But it's just, one of the little hiccup along the way.
Yeah, one of the big things that I notice when I'm doing those bus tours around there is the intersection you have at Cliff and Veterans Parkway. Now, just how fast the contractor did that. I mean, were they even supposed to have pavement even laid as portion of that Veterans Parkway this year?
Well, our contractor, Riley Construction, has been phenomenal for the city of Sioux Falls. And it's important to remember, he got his notice to proceed and actually started construction on June 6th. So he didn't even start the beginning of May. He started on June and just knocked it out of the ballpark for us. And so, but we had a dry year last year.
Yeah, that helps.
And so that helped a lot. And they brought all their scrapers in, got all the dirt moved, and he was able to build the base as well as the sub-base for the portion from Western over to Minnesota. So the entire grade is built.
Yeah.
And so that's what's so great about it is in the concrete placement, it's a lot of work, and so they'll be busy placing concrete this year.
No, it's just been amazing how fast that's gone. So, all right, well, what's our next project?
All right, so we do have a pretty big project on East 10th Street from Interstate 229 over to Sycamore.
Okay.
And so this one is going to certainly impact the east side, like the 26th Street overlay impacted the east side last year, which was very challenging for us east siders. We are improving ADA ramps at the intersections, and then we're doing an asphalt overlay of our very tired concrete street. So that's to give us some more life before we actually reconstruct it in that, probably 12 to 15 years. And so, but it's going to be, anytime you take a lane on that East 10th Street, we have backups, just like on East 26th Street last year. So that's going to be certainly a headache for that commuter traffic that travels through the corridor.
Yeah, but you're right, that's a street that needs some love, and so it'll be nice to give that a little bit extra life.
Exactly. One of the other projects that is on the west side and is near our new interchange coming at 85th Street and I-29, we have a contractor that's going to be working on paving tall grass from 74th Street by the Lutheran School down through 85th Street. And so me as a worker that has been out on the streets, it seems like we have been in that 85th and Tallgrass area for probably 15 years, but we will continue to be working on getting that street paved Tallgrass, and then that is in anticipation of getting that interchange started in 2025 and 2026.
So it'll start in 2025.
Correct. Yep. And then on the west side of the interstate, the city of Sioux Falls is working with the city of T, and we're paving 85th Street from Sundowner to the west to Heritage Parkway, which is the main drag that comes out of T, and we're putting in a roundabout at that intersection.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all of this is kind of we're surrounding the interchange. So when we start it and we open it up, we'll have all paved street. Yep, it'll be ready to go.
That's great.
Yeah,
Good.
So the neighborhood probably is tired of us down there, but but that's one of those things. A couple other things in the area. Benson Road Bridge right now, we had a contractor that started with a deck replacement, and it's on the north part of the city of Sioux Falls by the airport.
Okay.
And so that's totally
okay.
closed to traffic. So anybody going to the airport, don't forget that. You're going to have to reroute around to 60th Street North.
Yeah.
And we're redoing the deck. And that'll be an all summer. So that's a badly needed project. And
Just one that needed to be
Yep.
done. It wasn't, yeah.
Yep, and so we're using DOT preservation funds to help us out with that, and that was great partnership with the DOT and the city again.
But not widen it, just
Nope,
rehabbing it.
nope,
kind of,
just
yeah.
rehabbing
Gotcha.
it. Yep,
Good.
yep.
That's good to know. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I, for some reason, was confused when they announced that, and I said, well, didn't they just replace it? I thought it was where the diverging diamond going by. I was like, didn't they just do that?
Yeah.
They're going to close it again? But that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
so.
exactly, right on. A couple other overlays, we have an overlay on Ellis Road from 41st Street down to 57th Street. That's a pretty tired
okay.
county
Yeah.
road. And then, we have so much information that's on our website, as we're putting together our program. We'll have a traffic signal that'll go in along 57th Street at Greystone, which is on the east side by Sycamore. We have some development, a new gas station went in, we got Silver Star and Car Wash, and so there's a lot of development and then volumes on 57th Street continue to increase, and so we need to get that traffic signal in. So I'm excited about that. And just some spotted, neighborhood reconstruction projects. So there's still a lot going on around the city. We just never cease to, get our roads completed.
Yeah, and I think that, like you just talked about that, a lot of the good information on the website is, I love looking at your CIP that shows capital improvement plan, if people don't know what that stands for, but talks about the roads for the next 4 or 5 years. And that can all change, but it gives you an idea of where the priorities are and what you think is going to be coming in the next 4 or 5 years. So I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, so we always, our asphalt overlay program and our neighborhood reconstruction programs and our concrete rehab work, those projects, those are our maintenance preservation projects, and those may not necessarily impact bigger traffic volume corridors, but they're more neighborhood type of thing. But it's important that we maintain our existing streets too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. So just real quick before, last thing before we have to go here, I know a lot of people ask me and probably ask you too, like, what's the plan for 229, right? Where you've done Benson Road, right? Or the state has, I shouldn't say you haven't. But like, what's the plan as we continue to go around there all the way over to Interstate 29, those intersections?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in 2013, the South Dakota Department of Transportation Federal Highway and the City of Sioux Falls entered into a 229 major investment study. And we identified improvements that needed to occur at every one of those interchanges over the next 5 to 15 years. And a lot of times people don't understand that 229 was constructed in the late 50s and early 60s.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And so those interchanges that are currently there have really they've done tremendous for us, but they've outlived their capacity and their useful life. And so 26th Street in Southeastern was the first one in 229. That was the first one to replace. Now we did Western Avenue in 229 last year. We added a double left. And then the next two are Minnesota and Cliff Avenue interchanges. And so, and then of course Benson. So Cliff Avenue is planned for 2025 and 2026, and that'll be complete reconstruction. And this year in 2024, the DOT hopes to do crossovers, which basically allows traffic to cross over the opposite direction.
Okay.
And then they're going to have a temporary bridge to keep traffic, to install a temporary bridge so we can keep traffic on the interstate open during the interchange. Yeah.
So that'll be closed.
Yes. So
I like that. That's what I use that all the time.
So the actual Cliff Avenue will certainly have traffic impacts this summer. There's closures planned for Cliff Avenue this summer as well as the next summer, and so that's what we really need to work with the school district on. But the interstate traffic is one of the most important things. We want to keep traffic on Minnesota or on Cliff Avenue. So after that project gets completed in 26, then we take that temporary bridge and we move it over to Minnesota in 229. And we do the same thing at Minnesota in 229 and 27 and 28. And then 27, we will also reconstruct Minnesota from the interchange all the way up to 41st Street because we need additional 6 lanes there. So we have a lot of work to come up on those 2 interchanges.
And then people that have been waiting for like 30 years, 49th Street will finally be able to go
Well,
through.
let's hope.
Maybe, right?
Let's hope.
Well,
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that is a lot of work, but I think people are, especially, you know, I'm always on the Cliff and Minnesota 229 interchange, and you can tell it's just funny how designs and just learning things, how you do stuff so much different now, and it would help so much just move traffic and people going into each other and turning left and just, it's going to be great. It's going to be a pain, but it's going to be great once it's
Well,
done.
and I think that as long as you can understand what the end product is, it's okay to kind of suffer through those painful years. But I think people they're ready for those improvements.
Oh yeah, I agree. Well, that's awesome information. Like I said, I love having you on every year. You have so much stuff you get to talk about. You know so much about all the streets in the city of Sioux Falls. So this is great, and hopefully 2025 we'll be talking about the next phase of Veterans Parkway. Then
Right on.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for joining us for planning preview for the month of March. As indicated, the meeting is on March 6th at 6 o'clock at the Carnegie Town Hall. And if you would like to come to provide public input for any of the things that we talked about tonight, you're definitely welcome to do that. Or we do reserve that 5-minute comment period at the end of the meeting to talk about anything related. Thanks, Sioux Falls, and have a great day.